Wonderful good evening everyone. Welcome to the online session of Theory of Computation. To understand the epsilon movements and NFA with epsilon, in today's session we will see some related terminologies. Okay. So first starting with what is alphabet. Okay, alphabet. So alphabet is a finite set of symbols which we denotes with sigma. In the previous videos we discussed the finite set, right? Finite set of inputs and all. So that sigma, in that sigma, that A, B, C, D, or even if it is 0, 1, 2, that input. So that finite set of symbols are called as alphabet. So generally we denote it with the help of sigma. As you can see here, sigma in the here, sigma is, that is our input alphabet set is A, B, C, D. So A, B, C, D are the alphabets. Okay, and in the next one, sigma input set is 0, 1, 2, 3. So here 0, 1, 2, 3 are our alphabets. Okay. Then next is what is string. So string is a finite sequence of symbols which is taken from the alphabet, which is made with the help of alphabets. For example, in the previous example, the input set, the alphabets were A, B, C, D. So if I say C, A, B, C, A, D, C, A, B, C, A, D, this string, this is a string which is made with the help of the input set, with the alphabet set, this alphabet set, and it is a valid string also. Why? Because it is having all the alphabets which is inside this curly brackets. Okay, so we are representing in this whatever is in the sigma, only though this string is made of those alphabets only, C, A, B, C, A, D. Okay, so this is made of it. Suppose our string is C, A, B, C, A, D, E. So E is not in our this input this alphabet set. E is not in this alphabet set. We have A, B, C, D. E is not present. But our string is C, A, B, C, A, D, E. C, A, B, C, A, D, E. So because of the presence of E here, it is not a valid string. It is not a valid string with respect to the alphabet set A, B, C, D. Okay. So these things we need to take care. That's why we are seeing the terminologies in this video. Okay, so next terminology is what is length of the string, how to find the length of the string, or what is the term length here. Okay, so we know that the sigma, that is our alphabet set, is AB. Any string if we want to make for this alphabet set, it must be a combination of A and B. Okay, so the various strings which we can generate here can be AB, it can be double A, triple A, or many times A, or double B, triple B, or combination of BA, a combination of AB, or ABA. So these are the various strings which we can generate. So here length of the string means how many symbols are there in that string. So suppose our string name we are putting is at W. Okay, if this is a W, so what is the length of the string? Okay, suppose this is my string CABCAD. This is my string which is made from the alphabet set A, B. Okay, so see, so what is, if I say what is the length of the string, means I need to count how many number of symbols are there in this string. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my length of the string is 6. So we represent it with like this. Okay, this is the way to represent 2 bars W, that is length of the string, which is 6. Okay, suppose if we are representing it as like W equal to 0, length of the string is 0. What does that mean? Length of the string is 0 means it's an empty string, epsilon. Okay, epsilon here. Epsilon means it's an empty string, and the string is having no symbol. The string is having no symbol. String is having zero occurrence of the symbol, empty string, which is represented with the help of epsilon. We write it like this, epsilon. So we just now saw what is alphabet. We just now saw what is alphabet means. Alphabet is the finite set of symbols. With the alphabets we can make the string, and if we are counting the symbols in the string, that is our length of the string. Now we are going to see the terminology what is language. Okay, language. It's the collection of appropriate string. Whatever the string appropriate string, the collection of appropriate string is called as language. Okay, so the language is formed with the help of alphabets. It can be finite or infinite. Finite means we are giving a condition here. For example, we are getting a fixed set. We know fixed number of strings, appropriate strings, which will be in our set. For example, set of strings of length of 2. Okay, so our input symbol, input alphabet is A comma B. Using this, I need only those strings which is having string length 2. So it can be AA, it can be BB, it can be BA, it can be BB. So here we can see only 2 symbols are there in each string. Comma is the separation of 2 strings. So here every string is having 2. So this is a finite language. Okay, so here it's a collection of strings. So the L1 is a language which is having set of strings of length 2. So it's a finite language. When we say what is infinite language, means where it can be we don't have a fixed strings. The collection of, we have n number of collection of strings. For example, set of all the strings starting with A. So it can go in a infinite mode. It can be so many inputs can come in this cases. So this is an infinite language. Next one is set. What is set? Set is defined as a collection of objects. These objects will be your elements of the set. So the notation to write the set is with the help of curly brackets. Okay, curly braces, open bracket and close bracket. Every element inside this curly bracket will be separated with a comma. For example, suppose my set name is A and it having the elements 1, 2, 3. So how I will be representing? I need to represent the objects inside the curly bracket 1, 2, 3. These are the objects inside my set. Okay, so I can see here, I can write it that I belongs to A, set A. 2 is the element, 2 is the symbol which is belonging to A, set A. 3 is also belongs to set A. But is there any 5 symbol? No. 5, the object 5 is not there. So 5 is doesn't belongs to set A. So doesn't belong to me, we need to put a cross line. Okay. So the typical set, we always represent the set with the help of capital S. Okay. Another terminology is subset. What is subset? So subset, any subset, if you call, suppose example, let's take subset A is a subset of B only if every element of A is in B. Okay, suppose my subset A is 1, 2, 3 and my set B is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when I can say this subset A is the subset of B, I can only say when all the elements of A, that is my elements of A is 1, 2, 3. All the elements of A are inside the element B, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3 is present here. Then this small subset, that is this one, 1, 2, 3, the set A is the subset of B. That means all the elements of A are present in B. If I say 1, 6, if I say 1, 6, is this a subset of B? No, this is not a subset of B. Why? Because of the presence of 6, the element 6. 6 is not present in the set B, so this is not a subset of B. Okay, 6 is present, so 6 is not in B. That's why we cannot say 1, 6 is a subset of B. Okay. Next important terminology is empty set. So which set is called as empty set? So a set means collection of objects. Okay, which set we should say it as empty, where there is no. So if there is no elements, there are not any elements, that set with no elements is called as empty set. Set is there but no elements are there. We represent with the help of pi or empty curly bracket and close bracket. So this is the two way to represent, means means there is no element. Set is there, set is created but there are no elements. Empty set is the subset of every set including the empty set itself. Okay, so the good way to think is why we say that empty set is a subset of every set, because we cannot find any element in the empty set. That are not in. Suppose if I want to say there is an there is an empty set A, I want to say A is the subset of A itself. Okay, so how can we say that? We cannot find any element in the empty set that are not in A. So it must be that all the elements in the empty set are in A. So every empty set is the subset of itself. We cannot find that this element is not present. If we are comparing, this element is not present in the same element. That's why, because of that reason, we say it as every empty set is the subset of the same set. Every empty set is the subset of empty set itself. Okay, this is one thing. So empty set means any set which is not having any element, no elements, and we represent with the help of pi. Then what is null string? Null string here, null string means empty string. Okay, so empty string means there is no symbols, so we represent with the help of epsilon. No string is subset is there and elements is there, but in that particular string there is no symbol, is there. Okay, so we represent with the help of epsilon. Definitely one must not get confused that epsilon is not pi. Both are different. Pi means empty set, no elements are there. Okay, empty set is there, no elements are there. Null string means no symbols are there, no symbols in that string are there. Okay, now next very important is clean closure. What is clean closure? So now we understood, just now we saw what is epsilon. Epsilon means empty string, nothing is in that string. Okay, empty string. Now we are understanding clean closure. So we always represent clean closure with the help of star, or we can say we always represent this clean closure with the help of star. Okay, so when we say that it is if a set S is if S is a set of words, then S star means S closure. We will be saying when we are adding an epsilon in it. Okay, so for example, suppose we are having a set alphabet set 0, 1, and we want to write all the strings of that particular closure. We want to write all the clean closure of that, just whatever the possible strings of this 0, 1, whatever the possible strings we can make with the help of 0, 1, that we need to write, plus we need to attach an empty string. Okay, so when we are attaching an empty string with the strings formed by concatenating the words from the set, then that is called as clean closure. We represent it with the help of star. So like this, if S is my set name, then when we are putting a star on the top, it means that we are representing the closure. Let's see one more example. Suppose my alphabet is, my set is having, input set is having only one alphabet A, and I need to write a clean closure for this set, for this alphabet, with the help of this alphabet. Okay, so what I can do is just add, or just first of all write to the empty string with the help of epsilon, and after that write all the possible strings with the which we can make with this symbol. So A, 1 time A, 2 times A, 3 times A, 4 times A, and the 3 dots is symbolizing that it's an infinite set. Okay, so in infinite way we can. So this is the clean closure. So in short, clean closure contains the empty string. Clean closure is a set which contains the empty string epsilon also. Okay, if a string is not, suppose we are writing a string, many times we are seeing a string which is not where there is no mention of empty string. Such strings are called as, such sets are called as clean plus. Okay, you would have seen the plus symbol. If with the clean plus we are adding the empty string, it becomes this, and this whole becomes the clean closure. This becomes a clean closure. So if a set is not having an empty string, that is a clean plus. That is an example of clean plus. Okay, if a set clean plus. But if we want to find the, if we are attaching an empty string, that is with the help of epsilon we are showing here. We are attaching an epsilon in the clean plus, it becomes clean closure. So any string which you are seeing where there is any set which you are seeing where there is no empty string, that means that is an example of clean plus. If epsilon you are adding with the set, then it is an example of clean closure. Okay, so now this is the main topic, that is finite automata with epsilon movements. Okay, so what is finite automata with epsilon movements? Epsilon, just now I said, that is empty string, a string with 0 symbols. So epsilon transaction in NFA is given in order to move from one state to another state without having any symbol from the input set. You are not having any symbol, you are not having any input, but still you want in your machine, you want in the machine that it must move from one state to another state, then this is very handy. Okay, so this is very handy, and this is one of the advantage which makes NFA flexible also. Okay, as we can see one example on your screen, NFA with epsilon movement. We have 3 states, Q0, Q1, Q2, and we can see the transaction Q0, 0th input it is moving to Q0, Q0 on 0th input it is going to Q1 also. So this very thing is showing us, see here, Q0 on 0th input it is moving to Q0, Q0 on 0th input it is moving to Q1. So this is a perfect example of NFA where multiple paths are there for one input. Okay, here one more statement is there, one more symbol is there, this epsilon which is showing on Q0. If you are not having any input, then also you can move to another state, that is Q1. Okay, at Q1 one symbol on one input will be in Q1 state, or it will be on Q2 state, or if no input also, that is epsilon is here represent. So epsilon means Q1 no input also you can move to Q2. So this is NFA with epsilon. NFA with epsilon where multiple paths are there, plus there is the epsilon movement also. Okay, so if at Q0 position or at Q1 position there is no input also, no input, no string, 0 symbols in the string also, you can make a movement from this state to another state. This is called as NFA with epsilon transaction. So what is the why it is important, what is the significance of this is, sometimes what we want, like yesterday's video, last video I discussed one example of spelling of this word color, and British spelling is CULOUR. So the significance we can understand with the help of this example. See here, if we want to make a machine which accepts the spelling color, but somewhere the spelling, British spelling is COLOUR. So both the things you want to get accepted by your machine. So Q0 state, when C is coming it will move to next state, when O is coming move to next state, when L is coming moving to Q3 state, when O is coming moving to Q4 state. At this stage if you are getting U, very nice, you can move to Q5 state, and then R, Q6 state, and this is your final state. Wow. But what if you are having the spelling COLOR, U is not present, Q0 C you are moving to Q1 state, at Q1 state O, Q2 state you are moving, at Q2 state L, Q3 state you are moving, at Q3 state O you are moving to Q4 state, at Q4 state you are having R only, there is no U is there. Here machine can halt, here you won't get the output, but machine must accept, that is our condition. So at this stage when we are putting an epsilon, that is no string is there, no symbol in the string is there, then also it can jump to Q5 state and it is getting R and it is reaching to the final state. So sometimes to reach the final state we do not get a proper state from the start state. So in such case simply we want to reach we want to reach certain state which leads to the final state. To get that epsilon movements give us appropriate state, this way we can obtain the final state, and ultimately we will get our machine will halt. Okay, our machine will reach to the final state. So this is the significance. This is very important, and this makes NFA very flexible. That is, when we are not having any proper state, and to reach the final state, epsilon moments help us to get the appropriate state and to obtain the appropriate state and make us reach to the final state. Okay, now the last thing is epsilon closure. What is epsilon closure? How to find that epsilon closure? Now this topic is very important when we need to convert NFA to DFA, NFA with epsilon to DFA. As I told you before, that every DFA is an NFA. Every DFA we can call it as NFA, but no NFA we can say it as DFA. Why? Because in DFA there are single path, always unique path for every input is there. So we can say it as NFA. It's a subset. Okay, DFA is a subset of NFA. Okay, all the elements, whatever paths are in NFA, also it is available. But NFA can never be said as DFA. Why? Because NFA, for every element there can be multiple elements which will not be present in DFA. So NFA can never be a DFA. But conversion is always possible. NFA with epsilon, NFA to DFA, every conversion is possible. We can convert. So practically DFA is always possible. So conversion is many times it one need to do. So NFA with epsilon, when you are converting, there comes the epsilon closure. Epsilon closure. So to define the behavior of epsilon NFA on string, we require the function of epsilon closure, which is for example, we have a state x, which is state x, and it is having epsilon moves. So how to find the epsilon closure of that state? Just we need to see where from that particular state, with the help of epsilon, where it is leading to, and we need to include that same state itself. Let's understand with the help of this example. See, here three states are there. Q0 is the initial state, as there is an empty string coming, empty arc coming here. So definitely this is Q0 is the initial state. Q1 and Q2 with here double circles are there. So it's the final state. From Q0 epsilon movement, it is going to Q1. Q1 also there is epsilon movement, it is going to Q2. And we need to find the epsilon closures. So epsilon closure of Q0 is, first you write the same state itself. First we need to include the movement of epsilon will be include the same state itself. So write Q0 itself. From Q0, is there any arc which is showing epsilon movement? Yes. Q0 epsilon, it is going to Q1. Include Q1. At Q1 also, is there any epsilon movement? That also you need to include. At Q1, see, we are writing for Q0. Q0 with the help of epsilon, which state it is moving. From that state, if there any epsilon is there, that also you need to include. So at Q1, yes, there is an epsilon movement. This is going to Q2. So we need to write Q2. At Q2, if there is an epsilon movement, that also you need to write. So you need to write from that state till where epsilon movement, continuous epsilon movement is there, that all states you need to mention. Okay, so for Q1 first write the same state Q1. From Q1, where is the epsilon movement? It is going to Q2. So include Q2 state. At Q2 state, is there any epsilon movement? No. So we can stop. At Q2 state, first write the same state itself Q2, and then is there any epsilon movement? No epsilon movement here. Okay. So at Q2 itself we will stop. So the major mistake we all do is we forget to include the same state. In every epsilon closure, whatever epsilon closure of the set you are trying to find, state you are finding, the same state you need to include. Same state you need to include. Okay, one more example we will see. Here three states are there, Q0, Q1, Q2. At Q0, on A input it is going to Q1. Q1 epsilon input is going to Q2. At Q2 B input is there, it will reach same state Q2. So we need to find the epsilon closure, and we saw that epsilon closure in that same state we need, whatever epsilon closure we are finding of that same state we need to mention. Q0 we are finding epsilon closure, mention Q0 first. From there, is there any epsilon movement? No. Only A is given, no epsilon movement is given, so we can stop here. Q0 epsilon closure is Q0 only. Epsilon closure of Q1 at Q1 state, first write the Q1 state itself. Second, is there any epsilon movement? Yes, from Q1 state, if epsilon input is the epsilon, no string is there, then it can move to Q2 state, so involve Q2 state. At Q2 any epsilon movement is there? No. Okay, stop. Epsilon closure of Q2 at Q2, write first Q2 itself. Is there any epsilon movement? No. So the important point is include the same state, and you need to check up to where the epsilon movement is there. Don't stop on the next state itself. You need to track till where the continuous epsilon movements are going. That all states you need to include. That's all. Thank you everyone. Hope you understood.